Hi everyone, we've got a few videos that we're going to be analysing today, the cycling videos, and they're from people who we've featured many times on the channel. Thankfully, we've got a clip a little bit later on which shows quite a bit of improvement, but unfortunately there's a couple first that we're going to look at that don't show much. The first one's from Jeremy Vine. I'm going to get myself out of the footage so you can see exactly what's going on for the first bit. What would you do here? I'm just going to let this clip play on a little second just so we can have this taxi's indicator on. There we go. Okay, what would you do in this situation? The taxi driver has gone past Jeremy on his bike unnecessarily, I will add. These markings on the floor show me that the gap actually isn't that big. 4 meters, 2 meters. 10. It's probably only about 3 or 4 car lengths from where Jeremy is to the corner. So that's not a big enough gap for the taxi driver to make this corner. And we can also see the pedestrians on the left-hand side crossing the road. So it's a poor turn from this taxi driver. But what would I do if I was on a bike? I'd just hold back and let it happen. But that's not what Jeremy does, surprisingly. The horn was good. If he was going to be in any big danger, I don't think he was. Look at the reaction of the other cyclist as well. Did that make that other cyclist turn around and think what was going on? If Jeremy had have held back, the taxi driver may very well have had time to go before these people. It looks as though originally that these people on the left were going to give way. They should be given priority. So again, it's a terrible left turn by the taxi driver. But honestly, I think Jeremy just makes the situation worse. It didn't really need much apart from just holding back.
What's going on?
Okay. Interestingly, if he had have held back, he would have been in exactly the same spot with this crossing up ahead. And this is something that I often talk about, that in scenarios like this, that you're battling and squabbling over who goes first, it's really irrelevant, especially cycling or driving in a city like London. We get to have another look at a different clip now. Now, straight from the off, this one was different. It was the red post office van on the right-hand side that was signalling left. We don't see any footage ahead of time. Let's just see if we can just scrub it back a little. I don't want to go too much. Here we go. So, paused it there. So as you can see, we don't see much footage or any footage prior to this. And this post office van is already quite a bit ahead of Jeremy again. And again, it's got a left signal on. This one hasn't overtaken necessarily to do its left turn. So for me, the sensible thing for me to do if I was cycling again would just be to reduce my speed and allow this van to finish. But it does turn into quite an awkward turn for the post office van because there's some cyclists oncoming. Have a look at it. I think you can see what's going on with me still in the frame. Now, the position of that post office van now. Do you think that the driver can see Jeremy coming up this side? No, they should be given priority, or Jeremy should be given priority in this scenario. Cyclists going ahead have got priority over people turning left. But this is where there's a big conflict within the highway code. You shouldn't be going past people who are signalling to turn left as well. So what do you do in this scenario? Well, I would always take the safer option and make sure that the driver of the van has seen me. And it's clear that they haven't, because watch what the van driver does now. Jeremy again uses his horn brilliantly. That is a good time. I think maybe the last one was probably a little bit more of a telling off, but this is a good one. But again, why put yourself in this situation? You could see it from a mile off.
J
Let's get rid of me a second.
19 CNE.
And then, as normal, the over dramatics at the end. Twice in 20 minutes. It's a nice little graphic. In any case, yeah, it might very well have been a nice little graphic, but it's, for me, something that has been made happen again. There's plenty of opportunity to see what's happening there and do something about it. But again, Jeremy decides not to. So the second clip that we're going to be looking at is from Jeremy. Surprise, surprise. Again, I'll just keep myself out of the clip for a second because there's a little bit of a graphic that comes up. Now, Jeremy's obviously going straight on, if you'd read the graphic over the top. The cyclist has just overtaken the vehicle in front, and the driver of that vehicle should be giving space to that cyclist. And I think they do, and I think that's probably part of why the driver of this Mercedes in front just holds back a little. But watch the distance. Jeremy's got a good view here. He's sat up higher. You can see over the top of this Mercedes, and we can see what looks to be a taxi out there, out in front. It might not be, but it looks to be a taxi from here. But watch the gap now that grows. And watch what the driver of the Mercedes does in relation to the cyclist that's just overtaken. There are plenty of clues here again that give you an idea of what the driver of this Mercedes is going to do.
Going left, are you?
And Jeremy even works it out. You're not going left, are you? The clues are there. Jeremy's picked up on the clues, but have a guess what he decides to do. Don't forget, Jeremy was going ahead. So at this point, he's not changed his direction of travel because it was a danger. He's changed his direction of travel because he wants a confrontation.
Wow.
I agree with you, Jeremy.
What's going on? What are you doing? You didn't signal?
I didn't signal.
Not at all.
Agreed. The driver of the Mercedes didn't signal, but it was so obvious what was going on. But Jeremy, I was going to say he missed the clues. He didn't. He saw the clues, but chose to ignore them and have this confrontation instead. There are no signs of any signal at all. Just shows you how poor a road user Jeremy is. He actually saw, like I said, the signs of which direction and maybe where the Mercedes driver was going to go, but he chose to ignore them. Don't forget, remember, he wanted to go ahead.
Not at all. Okay, your left light, your left indicator front.
I don't think that was the case because I didn't see it. There may be none. I'm just looking at this literally for the second time. I watched this clip and the others just over once before I thought I'd talk through them. I didn't see any repeater light on the other parts of the car, on maybe the mirror area or the front left. May have been wrong with that.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Sure thing. No trouble.
I'll just get myself out of this. I don't mind being run off the road if you're a half decent person. Why is Jeremy taking this So personally, in pointing the finger personally, I've got no idea. Anyway, is that it? It looks as though it is. So, not good cycling. Driving in a big city like London, it carries so many complications. There's so much movement. I've worked on a lot recently trying to educate people about cognitive load. Maybe there was just too much for the driver of that car to really work out and deal with. However, that's why it's super important to look at all the clues. And Jeremy, interestingly, slaughtered my video many years ago about me not signaling all the way home. And I did that to prove a point. I proved a point that there are many other parts to road use that show people and communicate with people what you're doing. And the frustrating part about that for me is Jeremy picked up on them, but he chose to not work off it. A little back off would have fixed that situation quite comfortably. Now, the next clip, we're going to have a little bit of positivity, just a little. There's still a few problems. Is a clip recently that Silvio Diego put out. Now, I'm not sure where Silvio is riding in this particular clip. I'm suspecting it's London as well. And the first scenario that I'd like everyone to have a look at is something that Silvio doesn't do well. Have a look at the vehicle to our right with the brake lights on, and have a look at the BMW SUV that's emerging or trying to emerge from the road on the left. I don't think Silvio anticipates this very well whatsoever. He's quite lucky here. Lucky that the driver of the BMW spots Silvio and actually waits. It was pretty obvious that this vehicle to the right was holding back and letting this BMW driver out. When you spot that, it's always a high risk. Now, we've paused it at a perfect point, because now what I'd like you to think is a staggered formation and a pocket of space. How much I've talked about that over the last number of months. And this is actually something that Silvio does brilliantly, and it gets him out of a hole nicely. Brilliant. No issues, no hassle. Was able to spot it in time. No harshness with the braking, potentially risking him to lose control and come off while he's entering this roundabout. Now, we haven't finished with this clip yet. The van driver, the white one directly in front of us, also pulls out. Watch how Silvio deals with this. It's honestly, it's lovely to see. Brilliant. We get a different view. Silvio's got a couple of cameras. And have a look at this first incident again. The driver of the BMW started to move, and this gives us a good picture as well. At this point, pretty obviously, Silvio is blocked from view from the driver of the white van. He's dealt with the Range Rover Evoque really nicely, but the driver of the white van might not be able to see him. So that's something you can expect. Drivers often as well just work off the first vehicle that they see. So this is what I think's happened. The driver of the van has seen the Range Rover disappear off the roundabout unexpectedly, and they've just gone. And Silvio's maybe been missed. It's totally plausible and probably what's gone on. Good. Made it a non-event. Honestly, really, really pleased. There's nothing else that happens in this footage. So we'll leave it there. So Jeremy's not improved much. He's still after doing the same things, but there is hope, because he wasn't that useless to not pick up on the driver of the Mercedes was potentially turning left. So there is hope. He just needs to act off his instinct rather than trying to create an incident. And it's definitely a creation, because like I said, he was going to go straight on. He decided to turn left instead. The other two incidents, the taxi driver was extremely poor. Um, I still think Jeremy didn't need to act and deal with it in the way that he did. He wasn't in danger. The second one was a little more complex with the post office van, where I paused the clip to explain where Jeremy was possibly not seen. That was the crucial moment. But to be honest, Jeremy was ready to stop. I just still think that he makes things a massive event out of nothing all the time. The final clip was Silvio. Well done. Well happy with that. There's still room for improvement. Like I said at the start of the clip, that potential emerge from the BMW SUV could have caused problems. So just hold back until you're a little more certain. He did, however, have a little look over his shoulder. Perhaps he was ready for avoidance, but I don't think there was much room to the right-hand side. But to deal with the Range Rover Evoque on the roundabout and then the van driver in that way, I'm not seeing much of that from Silvio, so it's really pleasing. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Keep safe if you're using any form of transport. I'll see you all soon.